Dear friends, welcome back to my channel. Today we are in one of the smallest countries in Europe, one of the richest and most expensive in the world, a conservative, alpine country known for its wine, alpine hiking and artificial teeth, or their production to be specific. We are in the Principality of Liechtenstein, the only German-speaking country not bordering Germany and one of the 6 microstates in Europe. It is an alpine country sandwiched between Austria to the east and Switzerland to the west, and one of 2 in the world which are double landlocked. The other one is Uzbekistan. Its western border is the Rhine River, one of Europe's biggest rivers and so culturally and commercially important to so many Central European nations. The country covers an area of 160 square kilometers and it is about the same size as Brussels or New York's Brooklyn. It is roughly 10 kilometers wide and 25 kilometers long. Liechtenstein has the population of 38,000 people, and it is one of the richest countries with average salary of $140,000 as of 2021. It is a relatively conservative country, and surprisingly for a German-speaking nation, 80% of its inhabitants are Catholic. Finally, as for its conservatism, did you know that women got a right to vote in this country only in 1984? Incredible, isn't it? Switzerland was a bit faster in that respect. Swiss women got that right in 1976. The capital city is Vaduz, of almost 6,000 inhabitants. And honestly, if you were driving through the country and did not notice the sign Vaduz, you would not know that you were passing through a city, not mentioning a capital city. It is the main attraction, the center of the city and the center of the country. Banks, expensive shops, cafes and restaurants are located on this street. On its north end there is a skating rink, and a few hundred meters south is the Parliament building, the new one and the old one. And overseeing all that is the castle of the Prince of Liechtenstein. Somewhere in the middle of the pedestrian street is the Tourist Information Center, and one of the main tourist attractions in Liechtenstein is receiving the official Liechtenstein stamp in the passport. There's always a huge lineup of tourists waiting to get one. And since the country does not have an airport nor border crossings, Tourist Information Center is the only place where such passports are stamped. And of course it is not for free. A fee of €2 applies. The shopping street ends with the government and parliament buildings, and a few meters further is the cathedral with its beautiful neo-Gothic tower overseeing the whole city and the valley. For the main church of the city and the country, it is relatively small, but with such small population there is no need for anything bigger. The cathedral is named after Saint Florin, and it was built in neo-Gothic style in 1874 by Frederick von Schmid. It was built on the foundation of a church from the medieval times. Prior to the construction of the church there was a chapel. In 1869 a decision to build a new church was made, as the chapel was too small for the population of the city. To honor the completion of the construction, Prince Johann II offered 4 bells as a present to the church. The second important day of the church came in 1997. It received the status of cathedral in that year. Today it is the biggest and the most important religious center in the whole principality. As it is located slightly higher than the center of the city, the relatively low elevation is enough to provide already beautiful views of the entire valley. It is undoubtedly city's and even country's main landmark. Overlooking the city of Vaduz and the entire valley is the castle, which is the official place of the Prince of Liechtenstein. The building dates back to the 12th century. Some parts of it are the original construction from that period. The current monarch and the head of state of Liechtenstein, who currently lives in the castle, is Johannes Adam Ferdinand Alois Josep Maria Marco Daviano Pius. Man, that is a long one. And his wife, Countess Mary Kiński of Winitz and Tetau, unfortunately passed away in 2021. Just for a fact, the prince owns the LGT banking group, and the family as of 2003 was in the possession of the wealth of $7.6 billion. His personal wealth is around $4 billion. Yes, I know it is so unfair, but he is a prince after all, whether fair or not. Now, that is Europe's richest monarch. How about that? However, only 380th richest person on earth. Now, how about that? During the country's national holiday on August 15th, the Prince of Liechtenstein invites all the citizens to his castle where they can celebrate together with him. And they can have a beer at the Garden of Vaduz castle and just spend the day, which is, I think, it's awesome. Very unlike any other European country, as far as I know. And lastly, Liechtenstein is a country that is governed by a constitutional monarch, and this is where the Prince of Liechtenstein is the head of state of the country, and not a ceremonial head as in other European nations. The nation also has an elected prime minister who usually acts as the head of government and leads the nation in foreign missions. Liechtenstein lies in the valley. To the east, there is Rhine River separating the country from Switzerland, and to the west there are Alps. In fact, the country is surrounded by the Alps, and to the east and south, Alps form its borders. On the western slopes of the range between Liechtenstein and Austria are countless villages. These are really beautiful places overseeing the valley and the snow-capped mountains across Rhine. These sleepy, peaceful villages are the perfect spot for taking in the views of the valley below. The climate of Liechtenstein is surprisingly warm. It is considered mild with warm, dry winds. When we were there at the end of December, the temperature was 18 degrees, as opposed to 8 in the Netherlands. This surely was not usual, but nevertheless it is quite a difference from European countries lying a bit to the north. Such climate is great for vineyards and winemaking. Then we add a very good soil quality and the average of 1,500 hours of sunshine on southwest-facing slopes, and it's a perfect combination. Grapes grown in the vineyards here make an excellent wine, and Liechtenstein's wine is quite known around the world. It is the world's smallest wine-producing country, but with a 2,000-year-old heritage. Yes, the western border is the Rhine River separating Liechtenstein from Switzerland. I know this river from its wide end in the Netherlands, near the place where it empties to the North Sea. And definitely here in Liechtenstein it is much cleaner, faster, and surely much, much colder. Vaduz is the home of the last remaining covered bridge on Rhine River. Now these bridges, whoever has been to Eastern Canada knows that are very common in that part of the world. New Brunswick has so many of them still remaining, so it's really interesting to see one in this part of the world. The bridge is a crossing to Switzerland, and the border is clearly marked. In the past, cow-drawn carts were common vehicles going across in both directions. Today, it is crossable on foot or by bike. Liechtenstein is a home of one ski resort, which is in Malbon, almost on the border with Austria. And traditionally, the country has always had at least one downhill skier representing it in the Winter Olympics. Skiing is very much possible here, however, it is not the skiing that attracts tourists to Liechtenstein, but hiking. The mountains here are full of trails ranging from easy to hard ones, something for everyone. The highest mountain is Grausplitz at 2,599 meters on the border with Switzerland. But our son came with an ambition to conquer one of the peaks on the Austrian border, or close to it, and chose to go for the peak of Kugrad at 2,123 meters. We started on the day of New Year with a similar ambition, but came short of about 500 meters. It is the time of the year in the Northern Hemisphere when we have the sun for a relatively short time and were forced to come down before reaching the top. Still, it was a beautiful hike. No doubt about it. The route was quite hard, but the views were breathtaking. We had the valley right in front of us and snow-capped mountains across it in Switzerland. We managed to reach 1,410 meters and came to a mountain hut where it is possible to stop for a night, cook food, prepare for the further hike, or simply hide during bad weather. We took a small break, refilled the water bottles from a spring nearby, and headed back down to the tail to be able to make it back before the sunset. And finally, we come to the food of Liechtenstein. The food is really amazing, very hearty and very Central European. Meat and potatoes. The local dishes are very similar to those of Switzerland, as well as Austria and Germany. After the hike, only one thing was on our minds: food. We drove to the north of the country to Liechtenstein's smallest municipality by area, located in the upper right corner bordering Austria. Our destination was a well-known restaurant called Wirtschaft zum Loven. The restaurant serves a variety of homemade local dishes, but it is best known for a particular dish called Käsknöpfle, Liechtenstein's national dish. It is a simple dough made of flour, eggs, water, salt and pepper, and then grated over boiling water. The boiled knöpfle, or little dumplings, are served mixed with melted cheese topped with fried onions or apple puree. Our choice was fried onions. After Käsknöpfle, the three of us opted for three different dishes. Oleg's choice was schnitzel with fries, always a good choice. The schnitzel was soft, tender and quite thin. Eva's choice was sliced veal liver with onions, fresh herbs and a rosti. And mine was tripe with leek and white wine sauce, also served with rosti. Most of the meat dishes are, or let's say the type of potatoes or the form of potatoes served with the meat dishes are rosti. And rosti is a national Swiss dish consisting of grated potatoes sautéed in a pan and served as a side dish to meat basically. It was originally a breakfast dish commonly eaten by farmers in the canton of Bern, but then it spread and now it is eaten all over Switzerland, Liechtenstein, some parts of Germany, Austria, and even around the world. And so this is it. That was our trip to Liechtenstein, one of the microstates in Europe.